Jordana Ryan says 35-year-old teacher Lori Espanol assaulted her during a basketball game.
Order, all rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Your Honor, this is case number 55 on the calendar in the matter of Ryan versus Espanol. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, ma'am. Sir, have a seat.
You two ladies are in some sort of a basketball league for women.
Correct.
And according to your complaint, you were assaulted by the defendant during the course of one of the games.
That's right.
So why don't you tell me what happened?
Okay. I had just come off of the game. I was sitting on the bench, and
you were on opposing teams.
Yes, correct. And I heard Miss Espanol threaten my teammate Jane Medrano, and I heard her saying, "You're gonna get hurt, you're gonna get hurt," but she was kind of smiling, so I didn't know if she was serious or not. And next thing I knew, all of a sudden she started pushing and shoving Jane, and Jane, when she was pushing her back, Jane was backing up right towards me at the bench, and immediately I jumped between them and to stop the fight and grabbed Miss Espanol by the arms and just said, "Hey, it's just a game, this is just for fun. You know, let's calm down, let's enjoy the game." I was having a great game. I didn't want it to end. I was having a good time. So I was saying, let's just have a good time, let's relax. And all she said to me is, "Let go of my hands." I was holding her wrist. "Let go of my hands, let go of my hands." I said, you know, I thought it was calm. By the time this was going on, everybody's gathered around now, both teams, the referees. And she relaxed her arms, and I thought she was calm. I let go of her hands. I started to walk away thinking it was over, and that's when she just slugged me solid in the jaw, this side of my jaw. My jaw shifted, and even though she's hit me on the left side, the right side of my jaw radiated with pain up through my ear, and it was awful. And at that time, Brian, the referee, and a lot of the other girls grabbed her and got her under control, and they escorted her out of the court, out of the basketball court.
And you sought medical attention?
Yes, I did. I also called the police. She left the scene. I pressed charges. There was a criminal case against her, which I have the court documents.
I will look at them.
I have pictures the next morning of my swollen face. Even though I had ice packs on both sides of my cheeks, because my doctor made me go to the emergency room.
Let me see your paperwork.
Okay.
Please.
This is all the paperwork. I have a schedule and then the photos.
Sir, would you step up here, please? What is your name?
Brian Rosette.
Mr. Rosette, you were the referee in this game?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you witness this whole incident?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Tell me what you saw.
The defendant and Jane came down with a rebound, and they were tied up, which means they both had their hands on the ball. She seemed to be frustrated. She shoved Jane in the chest. At this time, she proceeded to come off the bench and intervene, you know, trying to calm her down.
How did she do that?
She jumped in between them. She grabbed her hand. She was like, "Hey, just relax, you know, let's continue."
Did you hear her say that?
Yes, I did. I was standing about 3 feet away.
Okay.
And she grabbed her hands, told her, "Relax, let's just play ball." She proceeded to say, "Let my hands go." She was like, "Well, are you calm?" She's like, "Just let my hands go." As soon as she let her hands go, she balled up her fist, punched her in the jaw. At that time, we ejected her out of the gym. We was like, "Hey, you gotta go, you're out of the game."
Okay, Miss Espinal, I'll hear you.
On that night, prior to my pushing Jane, there were several incidents in the game that were flagrant, intentional foulings that had occurred. Jane pushed me a few times, and I said, "Knock it off, you're gonna get hurt. I'm bigger than you, and I'm probably a lot stronger."
Okay, that's with this lady?
Yes.
Over here?
Yes.
Well, I'm not so terribly interested in this lady. I'm interested in this lady.
Okay. I pushed Jane. I aimed for her chest, but hit her more in the neck and the face area.
This lady?
Yes, and when I did that, Jordana came off the bench and grabbed my arms right here on my wrists. Very, very hard, enough to leave a bruise on my wrist for at least 2 weeks. I said, "Let go of me." And she said, "Nobody pushes anybody on my team." So I said, "Shh." So I said, "Let go." She didn't let go. I said, "Let go." She didn't let go, so I jerked my right wrist straight down, because she had it like this. I jerked it straight down. I said, "Now let go of my left wrist." She would not let go, so I reached up, because I'm a lot shorter. I reached up and I slapped her on her right cheek. At that point, she let go of my left wrist. She kicked me, she pursued me. I backed up, I kept backing away until I ended up on our side of the half-court line. She continued to kick. She
Did
kicked
you
me.
see any of that, sir?
No.
Did any of that happen?
That is totally untrue.
You're the
Everything she
referee.
said,
Are
yes.
you hired by either side?
No, I'm not. I'm totally independent. I've never seen these women before until that night.
Miss Espinal, you were arrested, correct?
No, I was not.
Well, at some point you were taken to court.
Yes.
So
No,
there was not a formal arrest.
no criminal charges were prosecuted.
I gave you some
Just
paperwork.
shh. I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Criminal charges were filed. They were not prosecuted.
They were filed.
Yes, they were not prosecuted.
Were you arrested when they were filed?
No, I was not.
So how were you notified to come to court, Miss Espinal?
By mail.
Okay, and you did in fact appear in court.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Actually, my attorney appeared for me.
No, that's not possible. Ms. Espinal.
She entered a plea of not guilty. I never appeared before the magistrate.
They told me it was
Oh,
guilty.
shh, just a minute. You received what is commonly called an adjournment and contemplation of dismissal in this case. Isn't that right? Because sentence was suspended for 1 year. It says probation granted, and the conditions were that you violate no laws. That sound familiar to you?
Yes.
You didn't do that by mail.
I didn't appear in court. My attorney handled everything, and it was not a misdemeanor, and it was not a battery plea charge.
I'm not so sure whether I believe that you never appeared in court. Maybe the law is different here, that you can be placed on probation for 1 year without having somebody in person explain to you what the conditions of probation are. Now, this may be a totally bizarre jurisdiction. That is, of course, possible here. But it is certainly unusual.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Didn't just hit her with an open hand, but you slugged her. I don't see why you would do that.
And later today,
Mr. Weisberg, did you throw the storage rack at him, sir?
No, I did not throw it at him. If I'd have thrown it at him, I wouldn't have missed.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Basketball player Jordana Ryan wants her medical costs reimbursed after opposing team player Lori Espanol punched her in the face.
Well, I will tell you that I have an independent witness who has no particular axe to grind. He testifies that you didn't just hit her with an open hand, but you slugged her. You can't do that. It's irresponsible. And you're a mature woman. I don't see why you would do that.
Exactly, Your Honor. Why would I do that?
Why? Because you got heated up at the moment and you were angry because
No.
of what you said occurred during the course of the game before. During the course of the game before, you said there was a lot of pushing and shoving. According to your answer to this complaint, you said, well, you sort of assume the risk when you, I'm going to quote you, you sort of assume the risk when you're playing basketball that sort of stuff happens, the pushing and shoving. Well, I absolutely agree with you because I don't watch a lot of basketball, but I see a lot of these people doing elbows and that kind of thing. This is that right?
Yeah.
They do that. They do that sort of thing. And that is a risk that you do assume when you play in this kind of sport. But what you don't assume when you're in this kind of sport is for somebody to haul off and slug you in the face, thereby causing your face to swell at any time. I mean, we're not talking about hockey here. I mean, hockey is a really violent sport. So you have to compensate her, Miss Espinal. Your out-of-pocket expenses were $70, and then you lost a day's pay according to your complaint, which was $171, bringing it up to $241. And I'm giving you another $1,500 for pain and suffering because I think that you're entitled to that. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you. I know that Miss Espanol's a high school PE teacher, and I would think that she would want to teach good sportsmanship to the children and not violent behavior. I think she was really out of line. Here she is as a supposed role model, and she's the one doing violent behavior.
I just hope Jordana finds peace in her life.
And now the next case.
Parties on Weisberg versus Gawant. Step forward, please.
Beverly Hills landlord Charles Weisberg is suing his neighbor, gift shop owner Dennis Gawant for damaging his electric gate.
You two gentlemen are neighbors in beautiful Beverly Hills, California. Correct?
Yes.
And since I'm only recently a visitor to your city and drive through some of Beverly Hills on my way to work every day, I see that there are some alleyways behind the houses where you folks put your trash and stuff. Is that how it works here?
That's correct.
See, in New York, they just take the garbage, they put it right out in front of your house. So here, they sort of hide the trash, and they build special streets for the trash behind the houses, right?
Correct.
And according to your complaint, Mr. Weisberg, what happened was the defendant, who was a neighbor of yours, disposed of a metal shelf, correct?
That's correct.
And somehow that metal shelf became entwined in your electric security gate, thereby damaging the gate.
Correct.
And the damage to the gate was how much?
$70.
And you're here as a result of principle.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, I'm going to hear your defense, sir. I've read it, now I want to hear it.
Okay, thank you. I want to first start and say a main reason why I'm here today is because my mother lives in New York and watches the Judge Judy show every day. When I told her that I had an opportunity to be on it, she said she'd kill me if I said no. That is the truth, Your Honor.
All right, so we won't disappoint your mother even if you lose, right? Because she doesn't care. She doesn't care if you lose or not, sir. She just wanted to see your face here.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So now let's hear the defense.
Okay, may I first ask a question of Mr. Weisberg?
Oh, we're going to have cross-examination here of witnesses. First, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Weisberg, did you ever submit to me a written bill for the costs incurred to repair the gate that you feel I'm responsible for?
No, I didn't, for the simple matter you told me twice that it's not your responsibility and you walked away from me.
Now you've asked your question, now direct
Yes.
everything else to me.
Okay, I have a document here that is the original summons submitted to me through the court, sworn to by Mr. Weisberg, whereby he states that he asked me for full payment and that I refused to pay. In fact, I never got a bill, so I didn't know how much it would cost.
That's really not particularly important
Okay.
with regard to this case, sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but you didn't.
Closed captioning sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Beverly Hills landlord Charles Weisberg is suing his neighbor, gift shop owner Dennis Gawant, for damaging his electric gate.
Your neighbor says that your piece of metal destroyed his gate. You don't seem to dispute the fact that your piece of metal destroyed his gate, but you have an excuse why there was an intervening act.
Correct.
That makes you not responsible.
That's correct.
I know your mother's going to love this. Go.
Okay, I've lived across the alleyway from Mr. Weisberg for 4 years. In fact, on many occasions, we've encountered each other leaving and entering, and we waved at each other, we've said hello to each other, but nothing more than that, out of politeness and respect as a neighbor. I have observed his sliding gate in fact, for almost 4 years. And out of respect and just common sense, I've never placed anything to encumber that gate or to cause any harm to that gate. In fact, I have a photograph that I would like to submit that, as a matter of interest, it seems or it appears that the gate track mechanism was placed outside of the property line of Mr. Weisberg and in the public domain, perhaps because it's unsightly.
Listen. Let's get to the homeless person who caused the problem here. Come on.
While I was through cleaning out my garage, I had the metal storage rack, which I was bringing over to the end of the refuse area, a good 15 feet away from the track in question. As I was about to place it in that area, a gentleman walking down the alley, he may have been a neighbor, he didn't look homeless, he said, "Are you disposing of that?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "May I have it?" I said, "Certainly." At that point, I relinquished control, which I would have done in the refuse area, but which I ultimately gave to someone who thought he had a use for it. I then withdrew, went into my home. An hour later, I heard a commotion, a big commotion in the alleyway. I opened my garage door, And Mr. Weisberg, with another gentleman, was holding my partially mangled storage rack. There was a lady also behind him. And he said to me, "Is this yours?" And I said, "It was." And at that point, all hell broke loose in terms of the language and the attitude, which I hadn't heard since high school, frankly. And he threw the storage rack at me. And if I wasn't nimble enough to get out of the way...
Did you throw the storage rack at him, sir?
No, I did not throw it at him. I did not use any foul language in any way, shape, or form. All I said to this man, "Is this yours?" He said, "Yes." I had it, and I took it and threw it in the garage onto his property, not at him. If I'd have thrown it at him, I wouldn't have missed.
Yeah, anybody have a picture of what this? Oh, over an electronic gate. You shouldn't get so aggravated, Mr. Weisberg. Do you have a picture of this metal
Yes, I
piece?
do, Your
Can I
Honor.
see it, please?
This was taken by the Beverly Hills Sanitation Department the next morning.
Oh, it's a pretty big thing.
It's about
6 feet high.
feet tall by about a 1.5 feet deep.
Weighs about 5 pounds.
Yeah, it's a lightweight, but it's strong enough on the base that it jammed in there when it was put back there by the gate. Incidentally, the mechanism is against my wall, which is around 3 feet from the end of the property
Let me
line.
ask you this question, just because I'm curious. At least in New York, when you have an item that isn't strictly refuse like this, you have to call and make a special appointment
That's
for them to
exactly
come and pick it up.
Same thing
No.
here.
Is that the rule
Yes,
here?
it is. You see the size of those refuse cans that are put back near my property line. Anything that is to be disposed of, according to the sanitation department, is to be put inside
those bags. And if you have
not
anything,
to be left out.
Now, Mr. Gawant, that's for a reason. Did you call and schedule an appointment
No.
to pick this up?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that makes this case so much easier.
But, may I add?
Yes.
I assembled that, and I was going to break it in half because it takes 3 screws and
Yes.
put it in the container because of its
Yes.
lightweight.
Yes.
But before I even got to put it in that, this
Yes.
other gentleman in the alleyway took the control over that and asked to use it. Apparently, it didn't work where he wanted, returned it. That's where the problem ended.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I should have done this. I could have done that, but you didn't.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Mr. Gawant, I hate in front of your mother to say to you, I don't believe what you're saying, because you said I was on my way outside to put it 15 feet away from where this damage occurred when somebody came by and just took it from me. Now, it would seem to me if this was in your garage, what we were going to do is we take apart the 5 or 6 screws before you take it 15 feet outside so that it fits right into the can. So you have the estimate for the gate?
Yes, it was
Can I have it,
repaired.
please?
Absolutely.
Mr. Gawant, I want you to tell your mother I'm very happy. She watches our
And
courtroom
here-
every day. Tell her to tell her
There's
friends
a copy for you, sir.
that even though her son lost the case, he was treated fairly. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $76.50. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
First, I would just like to say hello to my mother. It was pretty fair. If there was a technical violation that I performed, then I deserve to be found guilty. But the assault of the rack being thrown at me in my garage is pretty clear, and that's an issue to be pursued perhaps subsequent to this hearing.
It was very fair, very simple. It was an open and shut case. There was no question of what was done and how it was done, and the judge was absolutely correct. I hope we make good neighbors.
Building owner Thomas Smitham with his witness, manager Kathy Lines. Ronnie wants to be paid for injuries suffered for falling from a collapsed balcony.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 109 on the calendar in the matter of Gray versus Smitham. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat. Hi.
Mr. Gray, according to your complaint, you were visiting a friend.
Yes, I was.
And this is the friend you were visiting?
Yes, it is.
Who lived in an apartment complex owned by the defendant.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And you were standing out on the balcony collapsed, you were tossed to the ground and severely injured.
Yes.
He says it didn't happen. So, when do you say this occurred, sir?
1997?
January 19th,
Yeah.
1997. And what time of the day did this happen, sir?
About 10:30.
10:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And when had you come to visit your friend?
30 to 40 minutes prior.
How long have you known her?
A couple years.
What were you doing there that morning?
Discussing business about making some outfits for some groups I was managing.
So you got there between 9 and 10 in the morning. And tell me exactly what happened when you got there.
It was a really nice day, so we decided to go out on the balcony and get some fresh air. So we proceeded out to the balcony, and being out there, I was standing on the balcony next to the railing, and I heard some cracking noise. I didn't pay very much attention to it, and a few minutes after that, it happened.
What happened?
The balcony collapsed.
The whole balcony or just the railing?
The railing and about 2 feet of the outer portion.
It's leaving part of the balcony still intact.
Yeah. Yes.
But the railing portion and the concrete
And
that
the
was
stucco
beyond
and the
that
wood.
went over.
Exactly.
And you both fell off this balcony?
Yes, we did.
And where did you go immediately thereafter? What happened?
Well, I fell. I was dazed, and I looked around to make sure that she was okay, and she seemed to be okay, and some people came by and witnessed and asked, were we okay? And I said, I feel okay at the moment, and we proceeded upstairs. And from that point, we made decisions to go to Daniel Freeman Memorial Hospital.
Okay, so you went upstairs.
Yes, afterwards.
So you walked up the stairs, the two of you.
Yes, we did.
And you went back to the apartment.
Yes.
And then you sat down and discussed going to the emergency room.
We had thought about calling for a ambulance at first, or to call friends, but we decided to take ourselves because we could still walk.
And how did you get there?
In a van.
Whose van?
Her van.
Who drove?
I did.
So you got to the emergency room, and were you both seen by doctors?
Yes, we were.
You have the emergency room report for me?
I have, the first thing I would like to present is the building and safety code information from Los Angeles.
First, I would like to see the emergency room report.
Here you go.
Good. Were you admitted to the hospital, sir?
For a few hours.
According to your complaint, you had an extensive period of treatment. Is that right?
Yes, afterwards.
And according to your complaint, as soon as this happened, you called a friend to go and take photographs of the collapsed balcony.
I didn't call a friend to do that. A friend met us at the hospital, and I made a decision to do that at that point.
Okay. Did anybody take photographs of you?
No.
Well, did you have any visible marks on you of being injured?
No.
So you fell down this whole story and you had no cuts, bruises, anything external?
No.
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 And what is your name?
Cynthia Bernstein.
Did Miss Bernstein have photographs taken, if you know?
Of herself?
Yes.
Not that I know, no.
And did she have any external signs of injury? Cuts, bruises,
No.
trauma?
None that
the
I
outside.
could see.
None that you could see.
Right.
Okay. Now, Mr. Smitham, you own this property?
Yes.
First, could you pass up those photographs to me? Miss Bernstein was a tenant of yours?
Yes. Could I say something to this? I own the building, but my daughter runs the building and operates it and always has.
Okay.
And she has the information. I'm really not aware of.
Step up.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. What is your name?
Catherine Lyons, Lyons.
Now, Miss Lyons, Miss Bernstein was a tenant of yours?
Yes, she was.
How long had she been a tenant?
Approximately 8 months.
You were aware of the collapse, partial collapse of a balcony in her apartment?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when did that occur?
It happened on January 18th, not 19th, as the plaintiff stated.
I may have been wrong about the date.
Well, you certainly had the wrong date, sir, because according to you, the first thing that you said was this happened on 1/19/97, and your date of examination in the hospital was 1/18/97. So clearly, you were mistaken about the date,
Yes.
right? Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
This balcony, Your Honor, collapsed on the morning of January 18th. It fell approximately about 7 o'clock in the morning. My construction worker happened to be a tenant of mine who also lived on the premises, and he called me immediately when it happened.
Just a second. You can't tell me what he said to you, but what time did you receive a call about
7 a.m.
7 a.m. How are you certain of the time, Ms. Lyons?
I was getting my children ready for school.
Okay. And what did you do when after you got that call?
Dropped my children off and went straight over to the apartment building.
What time did you arrive at the apartment building?
I arrived approximately 9:15.
If you can't behave yourself, then you're going to leave. Do you understand? Yes. Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did your attorney advise you that he was not following through with your claim because he suspected that this was a fraudulent claim?
No, he did not. They let the case go because Mrs. Davis had to leave town, and they needed both of us to discuss this matter further.
That's a lot of baloney.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ronnie Gray and his witness Cynthia Bernstein say they fell as a balcony collapsed at an apartment building owned by Thomas Smitham and managed by his daughter, Kathy Lyons.
What did you see when you arrived at the apartment building?
That the second-story balcony had collapsed onto the. It had collapsed. As I was there discussing the matter with the construction worker, I saw Miss Bernstein and this gentleman pull up in a van. They hadn't even been home prior to this happening. They pulled up, got out, went upstairs, and that was the last I saw of them. 2 or 3 months later, I get a letter from an attorney saying that they're suing us for just thousands and thousands of dollars of medical reports, and my husband, who happens to be an attorney, wrote a letter to them saying this is a fraudulent claim. We're not going to give it to our insurance agency. If you continue with this, we're going to report you. We're going to report it to the insurance commission. It was dropped immediately. And that was the last I heard of this until now. Now, not only, Your Honor, did this happen a year and a half ago, but their statute of limitations ran out in California. If they wanted to sue, they should have done this a long time ago.
Well, I don't necessarily feel bound necessarily by statute of limitations, but I am kind of interested. Step up here. I am kind of interested, madam, in why your attorney did not pursue this claim.
After the apartment was damaged like that, I went away. I went out of town. And only address they had to find me, because I had no place else to live after that, was at his place. So they had notified him.
Where did you go out of town?
Where?
Yes.
To Washington, D.C. That's where I'm originally from. I've been here for years, but I was born in Washington, D.C.
Uh-huh. But you had originally contacted an attorney, or had
Yes,
he
I did.
contacted an attorney, or did he contact the attorney?
We both did.
But the attorney dropped the claim.
That's because they couldn't find me. They kept.
Well, they could find him.
Right.
They could find you. The attorney
Exactly.
dropped the claim. So let's discuss why the attorney dropped this claim. Let's be very careful about this. Did your attorney advise you that he was not following through with your claim because he suspected that this was a fraudulent claim?
No, he did not. The only reason, if I may say, the only reason they let this case go, they felt we had a very, very good case. They let the case go because Mrs. Davis had to leave town, and they needed both of us to make certain dates to see them and to discuss this matter further.
Mr. Gray,
Yes.
that's a lot of baloney. You want to know why it's a lot of baloney? I've been a lawyer for 35 years. Because you have a claim that is at least as valuable as her claim, and any lawyer who took your case would be most anxious to complete it, because if you were an invited guest of someone who lived in an apartment, sir, and as an invited guest you were standing out on the balcony collapsed, which means that they would be per se liable for any injury that you sustained, which means that there is absolute liability on their part. So there's not even an issue as to liability, Mr. Gray. And if you say you had long-term injuries as a result of this, then there would be absolutely no reason why a lawyer would drop your claim just because they couldn't get in touch with her.
Okay.
Absolutely none. So let's go further, sir. I'm going to ask you for a couple of things. I would like all of your medical reports. Did the lawyer send you to a doctor?
Yes.
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 Okay, so you went to see a lawyer. And on what day did you first go to see the lawyer?
I don't know the exact date off the top of my head.
How much
because I don't
after
wanna
the
make that-
incident?
Huh? I don't want to make that same mistake again.
How
on the
much
dates.
after the incident? A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
A week or so.
A week or so?
Yeah.
In between going to the emergency room and going to the lawyer, what doctor did you see?
Myself, I went to a family chiropractic group first, and then afterwards I ended up going to.
Can I see? Showing me?
Where's the other information here? Okay, I think you have the other one there.
So the things that you complained about to the doctor when you went to the doctor, sir, were things you said you felt stiff when you got out of bed in the morning?
My right wrist, my back, my pelvis was injured.
You told that to the doctor.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
And the x-rays that were taken were all negative.
There was nothing broken.
The x-rays were all negative.
Yes.
And you had no external lacerations.
Some swollenness.
I don't see anywhere where it talks about swelling in any of these reports.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You would have scratches or abrasions if you fell 15 feet into a bush. You would have scratches or abrasions if you fell 15 feet onto cement. You would have scratches or abrasions if you fell 15 feet probably onto a pillow.
Closed captioning sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Ronnie Gray wants his medical bills plus pain and suffering paid by building owner Thomas Smitham when a balcony collapsed. The manager, Kathy Lyon, says no one was on the balcony when it fell.
You want to show me something from your lawyer?
Okay, this is where they had me and Mrs. Davis as joint, parties in this case. So that's why they made the decision to let it go, because we could not make it together. They wanted to do this as a joint case. I don't understand, but, that's what they wanted to do.
When was the last time you spoke to this lawyer?
It's been several months,
What several? 2 months, 3 months, 4 months?
3-4 months.
Is that when you were advised that she was dropping the case?
Actually, they sent me the information back first, and then I called.
What information did they send back?
They sent me the file.
The whole file?
Yeah.
Do you have it?
I don't think I have the
file.
complete file, but I have...
I want the last letter that they sent you indicating that they were dropping your lawsuit.
Here it is. Here's the one she wanted to see why they dropped it. Here's another one. That's awful news. I got two of these.
Well, these letters were all sent to you,
I know that.
and they sent them to you directly.
They sent us both.
They sent it to you. They sent one letter to you directly. It is imperative that you contact this office. It's made out directly to you.
Right.
Not to her. So why didn't you go?
They sent me the file.
No, no, no. The lawyer called you to come in. The lawyer notified you on two separate occasions, at least from here, two separate occasions to come in to the lawyer's office.
By myself?
Oh, yes. This letter is directed to you. You're Ronnie Gray, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
So why didn't you go to the office?
I never missed any appointments with the lawyer, okay?
Well, if you never missed any appointments with the lawyer, sir, then I can't understand it. But I do have a couple of questions from looking at this. Scott, chiropractor, says that you told him when you came in to see him for the first time that you fell on your wrist and your head when you fell 15 feet.
Okay.
So you want me to believe, sir, that you fell 15 feet on your wrist and your head, causing you all kinds of problems, but that you had absolutely no abrasions, because this doctor saw absolutely no abrasions on you, not a scratch. You fell 15 feet on your head and your wrist, and you had no...
There was a lot of shrubbery. If you look at the pictures, like a lot of ivory and weeds and whatnot, I can't explain to you why.
Certainly, if there's a lot of shrubbery, you would have scratches and abrasions. You would have scratches or abrasions if you fell 15 feet into a bush. You would have scratches or abrasions if you fell 15 feet onto cement. You would have scratches or abrasions if you fell 15 feet probably onto a pillow. None of these doctors who saw you immediately after the incident, sir, saw any visible signs that you had taken a fall.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY.
My last question to you is, your lawyers told you they were dropping the case because you hadn't been in touch with them. Why didn't you go to another lawyer?
I didn't want to have another lawyer have to go through all this mess again.
So what'd you sue them for?
Huh?
So what'd you sue them for?
What did I sue them for?
Yeah.
Because of my losses and the doctor bills.
Well, then why didn't you go through a lawyer?
To another lawyer?
Yeah, why didn't you go to a lawyer? Your lawyer wrote to you, you had doctor bills, you had medical bills. I assume
there was another lawyer that I did contact, and he didn't want to get involved in it.
Let me ask you this question, sir. This doctor, this chiropractic group that your lawyer sent you to,
right,
saw you a lot of times, right?
Right.
And had all these medical bills from the chiropractic group, right? A couple of $1,000s at least.
Exactly.
Right? Did you pay them?
Did I pay them?
Yeah.
I wasn't able to pay them.
So the answer is you didn't pay them.
No, I did not pay them.
This case is dismissed, that's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, I've seen this show on several occasions, and I felt that, you know, she would be as feisty as she is.
Basically to scam for some money. You know, they had been evicted and perhaps they wanted to recoup some of their losses.
"36-year-old Los Angeles police officer Brett Robinson is suing 61-year-old receptionist Beverly Manos for filing a false complaint after he wrote her a speeding ticket. She says he only stops women and he was rude.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom. Yeah, this is case number 119 on the calendar in the matter of Robinson versus Manos. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Mr. Robinson, you are a police officer.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to your complaint, in the course of your duties, you gave the defendant a speeding ticket.
Yes, ma'am.
A speeding ticket, eventually, upon which she was convicted, correct?
Yes.
Your complaint indicates that after you gave her the speeding ticket, she filed a complaint against you with Internal Affairs.
Yes, ma'am.
Something which you do not deny.
No.
That caused you a great deal of stress, ultimately could cause problems in your future career as a police officer, and you believe that she did so maliciously.
Yes, ma'am.
So since, Ms. Manos, you acknowledge the fact that you were convicted of speeding, so that he rightfully gave you the ticket, I'd like you to tell me why you filed a complaint against him.
Well, Your Honor, I had first observed,
Now look at me.
Oh, I had first, in days before and the days after, he'd only noticed that he only gave tickets to ladies. Like, and I've traveled the same route every day. I've been driving for 46 years. And I didn't feel at the time that I was guilty, because of the circumstances.
Because of what circumstances, Ms. Manos?
Well, I was driving.
Please look at me.
I was driving in the slow lane of traffic, and well, I feel there was no way I could have been going 50 miles an hour like he said I was, but that's beside the point.
Well, though, that is precisely the point. You were, in fact, convicted of speeding.
Right.
So my question to you is, why did you file a complaint against him?
Well, when he stopped me, he was very rude and abrupt and, like, talked like down at me very demeaningly, and I was nervous.
Give me an
and upset.
example. All right, let's start from the beginning, Ms. Manos. First of all, let's understand that when you're pulled over for speeding, your adrenaline is pumping. According to your answer, you've been driving for a long time and never received a speeding ticket before.
No.
So I assume that you were a little nervous?
Nervous, right.
No. So he pulled you over, and what was the first thing he said to you?
He said, you were speeding. And I said, I don't believe so. I was nervous and very upset, and he said, can I see your driver's license? And I got my driver's license and everything. And he just was very abrupt.
No. Stopped your car and said you were speeding.
Mm-hmm.
You said, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I need your driver's license.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you gave him your driver's license?
Yes.
Next thing that he said to you?
He asked me for my proof of insurance.
And you gave it to him?
Yes. And he said, he all the time he was like, he didn't, I don't know, he was just, he didn't, give me a chance to any explanation or anything, or even just, I said, well, how seems to be doing 50 to 35 miles on his own. He said, I got it on radar. Well, I said, I don't think so.
Just a second. So you said, I don't think I was speeding, and he said, I have it on radar.
Mm-hmm.
That you were doing 50 in a 35-mile
Mm-hmm.
zone? You said, I don't think so.
Right.
And what did he say to you?
He just said, well, he said, that's what the, the radar thing says. Well, I said, I couldn't have been going that fast, officer, because I was in the slow lane of traffic, and I was going to be turning on Wilbur at the next block.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, that's what the radar said.
Okay. And what was the next? And then he gave you the ticket.
He went behind my car and wrote out the ticket.
And handed it to you.
Mm-hmm. Had me sign it.
And then what happened?
He just, drove, just drove away.
So, what's your complaint?
Well, the fact that when he, when he first told me, the way he, spoke to me, very, rude and demeaning. I didn't
hear anything rude and demeaning. He asked you for your license. He asked you for your proof of insurance, both of which you gave him to him. You questioned the fact, Ms. Manos, that he did in fact clock you going 50 in a 35-mile zone. His response to you was, I have it on radar.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You said, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I have it on radar.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went in the back, he wrote you a ticket. He came up, this is according to you. He came up to you, signed the ticket, and he left.
Mm-hmm.
He's not there to give you a recipe, madam. He's there to give you a speeding ticket.
No, I realize
What did you
that.
expect him to do?
Well, the thing of it is my understanding of, like, with the radar, I mean, this is just my understanding, you know, saying that you only can get it, like, from the front or from the rear of a vehicle, not, like, a 90-degree angle. I was, you know, from where he was and to where I was.
That's something that you take up at a trial.
I know. But they,
So you were arguing with this officer?
No, I wasn't arguing with him. I just, you know, I said I didn't think I was speeding because I was in the slow lane.
So you said you didn't think you were speeding. He said you were. If it's your understanding that there is some problem with radar, then that's something you take up at a trial. You have a relative who's in the police department?
Past relative, retired.
A retired relative. Who?
My husband.
And what was he?
Deputy sheriff.
Okay, so you had some information about that. So far I don't hear any basis for your writing a letter of complaint against him.
I didn't write a letter of complaint. I called Internal Affairs. Because in fact, when he spoke with me, he spoke in like a demeaning manner. I mean, he very abrupt, and I mean, he could see that I was nervous and upset, and I mean, it just, you know, it just.
I didn't hear anything demeaning. You mean the words that he said? He said,
I mean,
instead of saying, "May I please have your license?"
No, no.
He said, "Give me your license."
Well, it's just his tone and his, you know.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This officer was nothing but courteous, was most respectful to you. How dare you place a call to Internal Affairs to try to make trouble for his career? How dare you do that?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Police officer Brett Robinson says he was not rude. He has a tape to prove it. He wants $5,000 from Beverly Manos for filing a false complaint against him.
You have something you want me to hear?
Yes, Your Honor. I have a tape recording of the actual conversation that took place between the defendant and myself. She's pretty close to what was said.
Good. So
and
let
I
me
have
hear
a
it.
transcript for you and for the defendant if you
I
wish
don't need
to.
a transcript. What
Okay.
she's complaining about, certainly there is absolutely nothing in what you said to her that is untoward. As a matter of fact, what you said to her was absolutely professional. What she is now complaining about is your tone.
Okay.
So if you have a recording, I'm going to listen to your tone.
Okay.
Go.
Your Honor.
I'm fine. 50 miles an hour on the radar. Well, what I did was I was trying to pass out of the car because I had come off and when I had that spot. I know. Well,
About a driver's license.
okay. They had the, you know, the other intersection down there, you know, the see that they had the, what do you call it, lane blocked, and I had to get over to be able to turn, and so that's the only way I could get back over to, you know, go.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and find the registration and the insurance, please? I'll be right back with you.
Sir?
I'll be right back with you, ma'am. You have the paperwork there? Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm just so nervous.
That's okay. Ma'am, they give you till the 27th of March to take care of the citation. Signatures here at the bottom, please.
Do you have any idea how much?
No, I sure don't.
I wasn't doing anything. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm just so nervous.
It's okay, I understand. I do need your signature here at the bottom, please.
I've never had this significant in my life. Does this mean I have to go to court? There's no way.
All the information's on the copy that you're going to get.
Oh, there's no way I can go to court. I can't afford to take off from work without
Right.
pay. JJ's going to be very happy with me, JJ Leonard. Do you know JJ Leonard?
Yeah, information is on the back of the ticket.
I'm he's in American Legion with my husband, with Pete, and he's going to be very unhappy with me.
Okay, drive safely. Bye-bye. Today is February the 10th, 1998, 8:45 a.m.
Your Honor, don't they have to ask your permission or tell you that they are taping conversations?
I don't answer your questions, madam. You answer my questions. I've just listened to this tape. This officer was nothing but courteous, tried to be kind to you, was most respectful to you. How dare you place a call to Internal Affairs to try to make trouble for his career? How dare you do that? That's outrageous. That's outrageous. You know what happens? You know, everybody in this country sees glaring newspaper articles about abuses by police officers. And the things that you do demean sometimes legitimate complaints about cops that are bad. This officer knows that there are some cops that would be rude, that are not nice. You happen to pick on one that couldn't have been nicer, couldn't have been more pleasant. He's at the beginning of his career. How dare you call Internal Affairs to register a complaint against him? And not only that, not only did you lie about the fact, Ms. Manos, that he was rude, abrupt with you.
I thought he was.
You were upset. You were upset. That has nothing to do with him. You were speeding. But in order to make it even worse for this officer, you accused him of bias. You said that he only stops women. And now you're trying to tell me that you watched him, and the only people that he stopped in the days that you watched him were women.
Well, like the days before, one of the ladies in my same building had stopped. And then also...
Just a second. So the day before, another woman was stopped by this officer. And based on that, you concluded that he only stops women.
Well, on all the days that I saw him at the same location, you know, for almost about 4 days, and all I ever saw him pulled over was women.
Oh, please.
No, really.
Please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Manos, I want to tell you something. If you don't tell the truth once, judges don't believe anything that you say.
Well, I am telling the truth.
No, you didn't. You didn't tell the truth about your major complaint because you said your major complaint was that he was rude to you.
I felt he was rude.
No. You felt he was rude? Your first question to me after you heard this tape was, doesn't he have to ask my permission to tape record what I say? That has nothing to do with the truth of the tape.
No,
that has to do with the fact that you were upset that he had the tape to begin with.
No, I
now,
didn't even know they had
Officer Robinson,
yes, ma'am.
Let's get to your damages, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't even look to see who an officer is stopping. As long as he's not stopping my car, I'm happy. And you're telling me you're on your way to work, and you not only stop to see the car, you stop to see whether the person he's giving the citation to is a male or a female? Baloney!
No, I don't stop.
Baloney!
Closed captioning sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Police officer Brett Robinson wants $5,000 from Beverly Manos for filing a false complaint against him after he stopped her for speeding. Beverly says she's never had a speeding ticket in 46 years.
People have to be discouraged from filing false complaints against police officers. And I'm going to compensate you.
Thank you.
I want you to tell me what you feel as if it's worth and where you would like the money to go.
Well, I feel it's worth the full amount of the suit that I filed for, which was for $5,000, based upon a couple of reasons. Number one, as you already stated, I've only have 14 years on the police department. I probably have another 16 more to do, and the promotability. This type of complaint goes into your personnel package, whether it's unfounded or no misconduct is as a result of the end of the investigation. It hurts an officer's career.
How long did this investigation go on, sir?
The ticket was written on February the 10th. She made the complaint on February the 13th. I was notified by my sergeant that the complaint was probably towards the end of February, beginning of March. I don't know the exact day. From that point on, I began to obtain assistance from another police officer as well as a private investigator, Officer Clark Baker here, who is my witness and helped me to establish a case against Ms. Manos.
When was the investigation with regard to her complaint finally terminated with regard to you?
June the 1st, I was called into the captain's office, and I have paperwork here to show it was originally found unfounded. They sent it to the chief of police office. They asked for it to be withdrawn by the chief of police. The chief of police refused to withdraw the complaint, instead changed the unfounded complaint to no misconduct. This is the complaint.
I'd like to see the complaint, too, while you're looking for the other documents.
You sure you have it? Oh, here it is, right here.
You might be interested to know, Ms. Manos, that they conducted their own internal audit based upon your complaint of the citations that this officer gave. On February 10th, the day that you were cited, Officer Robinson issued 13 citations. 9 of those were issued to males, 69%. For the period from January 30th to February 20th, which is a larger period of time, a total of 120 citations were issued by Officer Robinson. Of those 120 citations, 55% were issued to males, 66 to males, 54 to women. That belies. That was based on their own internal audit. That belies what you said.
Your Honor, I was just going by where on that space of the span of the street where, you know, I go to work.
I don't believe you. You were angry.
No, I
Oh,
wasn't
sure
angry.
you were. I don't believe you. I don't believe
was
that anybody.
upset.
Listen, I drive the same route all the time to go to work, to go to visit my children, whatever. I don't even look to see who an officer is stopping. As long as he's not stopping my car, I'm happy. And you're telling me you're on your way to work, and you not only stop to see the car, you stop to see whether the person he's giving the citation to is a male or a female? Baloney!
No, I don't stop.
Baloney!
Just
I'm kidding, baloney.
You stop. You can see, Your Honor. You can see, Your Honor, when you're passing, you know.
No, not if you're supposed to be watching in front of you, madam. If you're supposed to be watching in front of you, you're not looking to see another car off the side of the road, and especially whether the occupant of the car is a male or a female.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY.
I want to tell you something. I don't even like this form by the police department. This form says the above complaint has been investigated, and a review of the investigation has led to the recommended classification of, and there are only 2 ways to answer, other than sustained, which is what is checked off here, or sustained, and what the penalty is. There is no place here that says no basis. That's unfair. That seems to me to be something that should be addressed. Now, you want to tell me, sir, do you want this entire award to you, or is there any particular way you want to divvy it up?
The court fees, Your Honor, I would like to go to the Mid-Valley Community Police Council.
How much?
How much are the court fees?
$300.
And what kind of an organization is this?
This is a community organization that supports programs that the police department gets involved in. It benefits both the community and the police department.
Like what? Give me an example. First, tell me your name.
Training to police officers, training to supervisors. They're also affiliated with organizations such as Jeopardy, which is a gang intervention program that assists children.
Okay. Next, the remainder of the award you want to you personally?
Please.
Okay. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff. The entire award is $5,000 with $300 of the award towards Mid-Valley Community Council. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, I was a little unhappy, but, you know, some of the officers should, you know, be a little more discreet with their giving out their tickets, that's all.
You can't make a complaint against a police officer without basis or without merit, without expecting some type of accountability for the complaint that you're making.
Assistant Melissa Soares says her ex-best friend, 20-year-old Nainita McNichols, beat her up and owes her for a phone bill. Nainita claims Melissa is a gossip.
Order, all rise. Yeah, this is case number 179 on the calendar in the matter of Soares versus McNichols. Sorry.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have seats, please.
Miss Soares, I gather that who are you?
Her mother.
You can have a seat. I gather that before the defendant came to live with you, she was a friend of yours.
Best friend.
How long had you been best friends?
Since our freshman year.
In high school?
Yes.
And there came a time when you got married. You married someone who was in the military.
Yes, I did.
And they went aboard ship. They were in the Navy. Your husband's in the Navy?
Yes, he is.
So you decided to come home?
Yes.
And you moved in with the plaintiff?
Yes, I did.
Something happened, didn't go well. You left. You claim that she owes you phone bill.
Yes, she does.
And in addition to the phone bill, you say that you also want $1,000 for emotional distress.
Yes, I do.
Let's start with the phone bill. She moved in.
Yes.
Wasn't paying any rent.
No, I told her it was okay for her not to pay rent because she was my best friend. I missed her. So I said, you can come and stay with me for free. It's okay. Just come and stay here. So she came to stay with me. And when she did come to stay with me, she stood there till about May or June. Then she decided she wanted to move for a little argument that we had, but we were still friends. So she decided she wanted to move in with her mother. Now, I still have this phone bill, which the phone hadn't gotten shut off yet, which I wasn't worried about because she had told me she would be giving me money. And at this time, I still had I really trusted her because she was such a close friend of mine. So when it came down to the phone time to get shut off, she came by and I was in the West End of the New Bedford area. She says, come now if you want to come. So I go to the car, and when I get near the car,
She drove to your house?
She drove to my cousin's house. I was not home. And when I went near the car and I said, Mahogany, come with me. And when Mahogany went to come with me, I looked and they had took off, her and her mother. They took off really fast. And now I'm like, what's going on? Still not thinking anything because she's still my friend. Then I have somebody bring me to her mother's house. When I get to her mother's house, the mother says, hold on, really polite, I'm going to go get Nanita. Nanita comes, everything's fine. I get up the stairs in their apartment. When I get to the top of the stairs, the mother's behind me. She now pushes me into the apartment, and the daughter's standing there when I get in. And she says to me, why did you tell on me for? And I'm like, what's going on? What did I tell about? I have no idea what she's talking about. Somehow there was a rumor or some misunderstanding with her in-laws. So happened that she had an affair, and she was afraid that I was going to bring this out, which I had no intentions of doing. So now, her and her mother, they literally jumped me. She takes off her belt, and she's like, now, Ma? Now, Ma? The mother's like, go ahead. She takes her belt off. She hit me with her belt over here, and she kept hitting me with it. So then I then grabbed the belt, and when I tried to fight back to get out of the apartment, mind you, the door is chained and locked at this time, and the mother's standing near the door. And I'm going back and forth fighting with her, and the mother's pulling on me from every direction. Finally, someone's at the door, which is him. He's at the door, and he's like, what's going on? He came, he's her friend. Okay. No, he came looking for her, the mother. And then he came and said, what's going on? I then ran down the stairs because now I get out the apartment. When I get down the stairs, the mother comes at me. I'm not satisfied. It's my turn. So she went at my neck, and he had seen that. And then after that, I came out the house, and so happens that the story got twisted around. Basically, I did not fight over the phone bill. I would like my money because this is all that I have, and so therefore.
Okay, let's start with A. You lived with her for how long?
I was there March and April 29th.
And were you calling your husband?
He was Colette Collin from Florida.
So you know you owe her a lot of money for a phone bill?
Yes, I do.
Why didn't you pay her?
I paid her. I only owe her $100. The first week...
Just a second. Show me the phone bills. Let's start with that first.
The whole bill is actually $525, but I only have $325 to show for, and I would settle for that much.
$325?
Yes, that's all I have to show for.
Oh, okay. Show me your proof that you gave her $225.
She was my best friend. When she came to me with the phone bill, I went to the ATM, I took out $200, I brought it to her house. The following Friday, I brought another $100. Then I owed her, that was $300, I owed her $200. I stopped paying her $100. I left money with my mother, like $25 here, $30 there. She was picking the money up from my mother every Friday after that. Then I found out that she called my in-laws and told them I was cheating on my husband. She wrote him on the boat and told him I was cheating on him. I did drive by her.
How do you know that?
How do I know? Because I spoke to my husband. And my in-laws is the one who told me.
Did he send you a copy of the letter?
No, he ripped it up.
What possible motive would she have to do that?
Because she thought I wasn't going to pay her the rest of her phone bill money.
Okay. Did she give you any money in cash?
No, she had never gave me any money.
Why didn't you get a receipt for this money that
Because
you
she
say
was
you
my
gave
best
her?
friend. When I moved out, it was not on bad terms.
You moved out?
Because she had made plans with her cousin to move in for the summer. We didn't move out on bad terms.
Well, you didn't move out on good terms. There was an incident.
No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't.
You didn't have an argument with her?
No.
Did she have an argument with you?
Yes, we did have a little. We had words. When she packed her stuff, we had words, and she decided to leave.
What were the words about?
It was in regarding to the fact that her little brother was over the apartment. She was on the phone with her husband, and he was underneath my glass table scraping the thing, and I said, get out of there. And she didn't like the way I said it to him, and I told her I would say that to any other little kid, my own brother or sister. What makes you think I can't say to your brother? If you can't keep him tamed, I'll do it myself. This is my home. And then that's when she then said, well, I don't have to effing be here, quote. So then she left. And
does that sound familiar to you?
No. I know about my little brother, but that's not why I moved out. It was planned that I was moving out when my husband went on the boat, because her friend was moving in for the summer, her cousin.
Yeah, but you moved out before the summer. So that doesn't sound familiar to you, what she just said to you?
I know we had, I mean, that happened, but that wasn't, no. I lived at her house.
Who are you?
Mahogany Silver.
Were you there?
I was there.
Well, step up here.
I was there, and what she said is what happened. And
Mahogany was not there.
I was there.
No,
I was
wasn't.
there.
Don't. Let me hear.
I was there when it happened, and I was there when she packed her stuff, because I even talked to her in the hallway, and she was telling me how she was mad about Melissa scolding her brother. I was there.
Why did you tell my family that I was cheating on my husband?
Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself.
Listen to myself. I'm listening.
Try listening to yourself.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Melissa Soares claims Naynita McNichols beat her and owes her for a phone bill. Naynita says Melissa bit her thumb, sending her to the hospital.
You were there when this incident occurred, and you had a conversation with her in the hallway?
In the hallway. I asked her, you know, she just like went in the room without telling anyone, you know, and started packing her things. So when she was taking, you know, moving her things into her car, I went in the hallway and asked her, you know, what was wrong with her. And she told me she was mad about Melissa scolding her brother. She didn't like the way Melissa talked to her brother.
How old is your brother?
He's 8.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Step up here. Were you present during this incident that took place in her home?
Yes.
Who are you?
My name's Orlando Urquhart. I'm a friend of the defendant and Melissa. I lived with the defendant for a year.
Tell me what you observed and when.
All right, I was going over to pick up my fish tank, and I was outside the house with Jeff walking the dog. And
who's Jeff?
Jeff's the neighbor that lived downstairs. Me and Jeff was talking outside. Next thing you know, I heard like a big ruckus upstairs and pounding on doors. And I was like, what's going on? Because the bottom door was locked, and I was ready to kick it in. And then they come down. She finally gets the door open, and she comes running out.
Describe her condition when you saw her.
Eyes watering, fear, shock.
Did you see the defendant?
No, not till they came downstairs afterwards. She was in the hallway with her mother. Her mother was down the stairs then.
Did you see anybody with a belt?
No.
Did you see any marks on any of these people?
No, I didn't see any marks. It was kind of like 7 o'clock when the sun was going down, and everything was just like a ruckus.
Okay, have a seat. Now, I want you to tell me first, did someone call her to come to your house that evening?
No, I had drove by. We was coming from the mall, and I saw her at her cousin's house. And I stopped, and I said, I have your phone bill money at my house. When are you going to come get it? Because she didn't come the past 2 weeks. And she said, why don't you leave it at my grandmother's? Why do I have to go to your house? I said, because I have work and everything. I left it at my house so you could get it. And the last thing she told me was, bring it to my grandmother's. I said, fine. Me and my mother drove off. We went home. I was next door at my cousin's house, and then she came to my house.
And what happened when she came to your house?
She went upstairs, and I asked her, why did you tell my family that I was cheating on my husband? And we started arguing because she said, I want my money and I'm going to get it any way I can.
Did she answer you?
She said she didn't, but my mother-in-law's the one who told me she did.
Just a minute. So she said, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you say?
I said, why are you lying?
And what did she say?
We started arguing. She was swearing at me, just give me my effing money. I want my money. We started fighting.
So why didn't you just give her money?
Because I said, after the trouble that you caused me with my family, the $100 I owe you, we're even. So she caused me trouble.
Just 1 second. You saw her earlier that day. You said, why don't you come over and get your money? You had already decided not to give her money.
No,
because of what
I thought she was going to tell the
Just a second.
truth.
Because based upon what you just told me, you had already decided not to give her money because of this gossip that you thought that she was the maker of. So why did you tell her to come over to get your money?
I was going to give her money. Yes, I was.
Well, when did you change your mind? Just a second. When did you change your mind?
Because she said, I just want my effing money. I don't care what happens to you. We started arguing. I didn't think she was going to blow up like that. She's the one that did that to me. She called my mother-in-law. She wrote my husband.
No, just a second. You're not following my question,
yes, I
madam.
I was going to give her the money. There was no intention of us fighting.
No. Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself.
Listen to myself. I'm listening.
Try listening to yourself. You tell her to come and pick up her money.
Yes.
She comes to your house to pick up her money. Instead of handing her her money, you say to her, why, and I assume not in a calm tone, why did you create this gossip? She says to you, I didn't. You knew that she did, according to you, so you responded to her. Then you started verbally fighting, and then you started physically fighting.
Yes.
Right? My question to you is, if you told her to come to get the money, why didn't you just hand her the money? Period.
Because I want to know why she did that to me.
She said she didn't.
But she did. My mother-in-law told me. I did not think it was going to turn into a fight at my house when I asked her, why did she tell my family and my husband that I was cheating on him? And I didn't think it was going to turn into a fight.
Who hit who first?
She did.
Excuse me. She hit me first. And I'm the one who got a phone call from her sister-in-law stating, Melissa, me and you have been friends for years. Now, my brother just married this girl, and seeing she's your friend also, but y'all my friend before her. Let me know exactly what you know. I know something about her sleeping with someone else. And I said, I have no idea. I can't account for what goes on behind closed doors. And then we hung up. The next thing you know, the whole story's flipped around, and it looks like I made this story up. And even her mother-in-law's like, why would she? Her mother-in-law said that she came to her herself stating, Melissa's gonna come to you with this gossip because she's mad because I ain't giving her her phone bill money. She was afraid I would do that because I didn't get my money.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
By this time, they had this fight in Nainita's room. From the bed, they went to the floor. Melissa was on top of Nainita, holding her down like this. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Let me explain.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Melissa Soares wants her phone bill paid, plus emotional distress for assault. Nainita McNichol says Melissa told her husband about a supposed affair.
Did this lady hit you?
Yes, she hit me.
Where'd she hit you?
She grabbed me by my hair and she hit me with the belt.
No, I did not. No, I did not.
Step up here. Tell me your last name.
Long, L-O-N-G.
Miss Long, what did you have to do with this whole incident?
All right. Nainita showed up at my house, tears in her eyes and her bags in her hand. And I said, she's like, I have nowhere to go. Mahogany and Melissa want to live together and go dancing together because one was a stripper and the other one wanted to go do the same thing. So they had this plan that they were going to get a car together so that they can be by themselves and do whatever they want.
Just tell me what happened on the day she came to your house.
So the day that she came to my house, well, the day that I saw her was the day I was with my daughter. We had gone to the mall. We had come down from the mall. We was coming down Kempton Street, going past Thing's house over there, and they flipped us off. They flipped her hair. And I'm like, there's Melissa. You know, 2 days before, Nainita had given me money to give to Melissa. Melissa was always at my house every Friday.
Don't digress, madam.
All right.
You passed her and you
Passed
saw
her house,
and
saw her,
and you just
and
a second.
stopped,
And just a
and
second.
she
You
approached the
Hey,
car.
I'm speaking. My mouth is moving. You stopped the car. You stopped the car. And when you stopped the car,
stopped the
your
car,
daughter
she-
said to her, "Why don't you come and get the money?" That's what your daughter tells me that she said.
Melissa had approached the car, and Nainita says, I left the money with my mother. How come you didn't come pick it up? Melissa was swearing at her and all that stuff, and I'm like, she wants the money. She can come pick it up at the house later on. Let everything calm down, and we'll go home. She wants to come pick it up. Went home. I was home for about 20 minutes. Doorbell rang. I went downstairs. It was Melissa and a car full of people. So I says, okay. I says, let me go get Nainita. I went and got Nainita, and I says, Melissa's here to come pick up the money. We all go in the house. I go in to talk to my ex-husband about our son. Next thing I know, I hear yelling. I come out. Melissa's raising her hands to Nainita. Nainita pushed Melissa back. Melissa then proceeded to charge into Nainita, and they ran into my couch, busted up my furniture. Nainita kicked her off the couch. They fell into the door in her bedroom, started fighting around. I'm yelling and screaming, saying, stop, you're gonna bust my TV, you're gonna break the lamp, you're gonna roll into the fish tank, you're gonna get glass all over yourselves. By this time, they had this fight in Nainita's room. From the bed, they went to the floor. Melissa was on top of Nainita, holding her down like this. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Let me explain. I didn't mean to say those things. Let me up and I'll explain. And Nainita's like, well, what do you need to explain about? And she's like, well, I'm just sorry for everything that happened or whatever. And I want my effing money and I want to go. And by this time, my house was like trash. My couch was broken. Things were all discombobulated in my house. And I opened up the door. I told Melissa, get out. A couple of days afterwards, my son came home, my older son, he was 17, and he says...
Don't tell me what your older son said to you.
My older son told me that...
Don't tell me what he said to you. I'm not interested in what he said to you.
Oh, you're not interested?
No.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with this case.
So they were harassing him.
Has nothing to do with this case.
And during the time that the fight happened and the time that they came and destroyed my car, they would go by the house and harass.
Madam, I don't have anything about, in this case, about your car. I don't have anything about your son. All this case is about a phone bill and what happened to her when she got to your house. You have anything else?
And I have pictures of the destruction that she did to my house.
Madam, did you file a claim? Yeah. The question is, did you file a claim?
Yes, when I talked to the woman on the phone.
No. Did you go to court and file a claim?
No, I didn't go to court.
Then you have no claim.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY.
I have to make a judgment about who I believe. I believe that she owes you the money. I believe that she owes you what you can prove is $325.
Yes, ma'am.
I have no proof that she gave you any money in cash. I believe that she called you to come to the house for the purpose of confronting you, which she did. I don't know why you think this is amusing. It's really not amusing.
It's not amusing.
She was really good to you.
It isn't amusing.
She was really. You want to know why, Miss McNichols?
And she told my husband I was cheating on him. I gave her $400 of her money.
And I know that she did because I saw her give her the money.
Did she ever give you any money?
The only time she came to my house was when she had a bat in her hand.
Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $325. That's all.
Parties are excused.
No.
You may step out.
Didn't even say nothing about the car or nothing. No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, her diary said she and his best friend had done him wrong.
She can flirt with whoever she wants to flirt with, right?
You can't compare 5 months of sex with 9 years of friendship.
Real people, Judge Judy.
I'm not happy.
I didn't travel all the way across country from Massachusetts to be made a fool of on television.
Taken advantage of, used, any way you want to put it, I was that.
Her mother is off the meters. That's all I have to say.
Dean and Dawn Prohl found Clifford Weisheimer and his son Cliff Jr.'s cat. When the Weisheimers came to get their cat, the Prohls claim Dawn was assaulted, breaking her toe.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Yeah, this is case number 80 on the calendar in the matter of Prohl versus Weisheimer. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Ladies.
This was a very confusing set of papers here, but let me see if I figured it out. You had a cat.
Yes.
You lost your cat.
Correct.
Step up here. You found a cat.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't know who it belonged to.
No. That's correct.
You found out months later that these people who live in the same complex that you do
Used to, but yes, did at the time.
had your cat.
Correct.
So you go to get the cat, and who are you with?
Okay, myself, my son, and his girlfriend went over to get the cat. We identified ourselves outside, and they invited us in. So we all sat around, talked, and petted the cat for about 7 minutes or so, and then I asked them what was the situation with the vet bills. They mentioned that they had some vet bills on the cat. Originally, when we talked to them the first time, the vet bill started out at $200. The last time we talked to them, they went to $1,000. And then the time we were there, we talked to them, they said, oh no, the vet bills are $2,000. So basically, I got kind of frustrated, to say the least, and asked them, well, basically, could we have our cat back? So that's why we were there in the first place.
Okay, so you discussed these vet bills, and you weren't going to pay the vet bills, which are now up to $2,000.
Okay.
So tell me slowly what happened.
Okay, basically, I believe my son was petting the cat, and I became very frustrated at this point because they said, you owed us the money, and we're not going to give you the cat back, it's ours. So I kind of lost my composure a little bit, and I raised my voice, and I said, well, we want the cat, okay? And at that point, Dawn jumped up and grabbed me, okay? And
I did not grab him.
Good to you. Go ahead.
Okay, she had jumped up and grabbed me. I said, please get your hands off me. And all I did was grab her arm, or her arm right here, and just remove her hands from my body. At that point, her husband said, get your hands off my wife. Quit touching my wife. I said, I'm not trying to do anything. Your wife just tell her to get her hands off me. She grabbed me again. I kept saying, get your hands off me. I did not push her, shove her, hit her, anything. I just defensively took her hand off of my body. At this point, when all the yelling and pushing and stuff started, the kids got scared. They immediately left. My son was near the front door.
Who was holding the cat?
Okay, when we were arguing, my son wasn't holding the cat. I don't know if he was still holding the cat when we started all this violence because I wasn't,
But
you know.
when your son went to the door, were you holding the cat?
No, I was not.
Who had the cat?
I set
you
the
were.
cat. I set the cat down and I exited the house.
So the cat was left in their house?
Yes, and it escaped out the door with me.
So it ran out the door?
Basically, yes.
Now, during this melee, you claim that you suffered a broken toe.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me how that happened?
Well, when he started swearing and shouting up and down that they were going to take the cat back, the girlfriend kind of pushed the son out the door and took off running the other way.
Okay, so she wanted out of this situation.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yes. Yes.
And he wanted out.
Yeah.
The son.
But he happened to have the cat in his arms at the time and walked out with the cat. And I mean, I watched him walk down the sidewalk, and as I was trying to get out the door to go after him to get the cat back, the father kind of blocked me, and then my husband came up because he thought that he thought that he was holding on to me to
But he
keep me
wasn't.
from getting. No.
He was just blocking you.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Well, then my husband grabbed him from behind and held on to him. And then in the meantime, I was getting ready to go, but he was standing on my foot, and I couldn't get out the door. And that's
Well,
when my
just a
toe was
second.
broken.
So far, he was just blocking you. And then your husband came up and grabbed him.
Right.
And it was at that point that he stepped on your toe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So what you're telling me is his foot didn't touch your toe until your husband, you believe,
Well, he had
perceived him to be touching you,
Yes.
so came up and grabbed his body.
Right.
And at that point, I assume you started to move around?
Yes. Basically, I got frustrated. I yelled. She started the first physical contact. The violence started and the yelling started. The kids went. Pff. He went out the front door because he was right by the front door. The cat had ran out. Why he ran out, and she got trapped inside, so she couldn't get out. And so I ended up pulling her out past them because I wanted the children away from the violence. And so that's basically how it happened.
Mrs. Prayle, you knew that this was their cat?
No, we didn't.
Well, they came over. They had called you several times. I assume the first time that they called, they described the cat. Is
Your
that
Honor,
right?
But they never came with any
We don't-
identity.
yeah, they never
as
showed
far
us
as
any
saying, this is our cat. We can tell you it's our cat because we had pictures or he had clear markings.
Just a
They never
second.
said any of those
Just a
things.
second. They called you and told you that they lost a cat. Did you say to them, could you bring us over some pictures? Do you have any pictures of the cat that you lost? Did you ever say that to them?
Actually, I did. I said at the time when you want to come over and visit, make sure you bring some type of proof of ownership. And at that time when I was talking to him, I clearly told him how much we had accumulated in vet bills, the records that we've accumulated, and that was in our intention of keeping the cat because we thought he was an abandoned cat.
Well, but you thought wrong. Mr. Prayle, why would you tell them that these vet bills had reached whatever you told them that they reached, $2,000, if you weren't satisfied that they were the owners of the cat?
Because prior to that, the ex-wife had come over and visited the cat, and she was the one who was trying to indicate that it was their cat. But she didn't bring any type of proof either. And then we started talking about how much we've accumulated in vet bills.
So his former wife did come over
Correct.
and said, this is certainly our cat. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
You should have let them take the cat.
Well, we didn't know that it was theirs, and we had spent so much money on the cat already.
You did that voluntarily. You did that. I mean, it was very nice of you to take in this cat. You could have called the Humane Society. They would have taken the cat.
Yeah, we thought about doing that.
Well, you could have done that.
Yeah.
What kind of bills did you have for this cat that totaled $2,000?
Actually, it was only $1,000. And
Did you ever tell them $2,000?
No.
No.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Just a
We
second.
could never get the price straight.
You step up here. Tell me your name.
My name's Jennifer Davis.
Jennifer, were you there when this discussion was going on?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was there ever any mention of $2,000?
Yes, Your Honor. When she was telling how much the vet bills were, she said that they were totaled $2,000.
No, I said they totaled almost a
No,
couple
you
thousand
said
dollars.
Almost a couple of thousand. Yeah, almost a couple of thousand. A couple is two.
Well, the total was $1,500 by the
First
time
you told me
everything was done.
$1,000. Now you tell me $1,500.
Well, the vet bills themselves are $1,000, but we didn't have any supplies. We didn't have, anything to take care of an animal. And up until that point, it had cost us about $500 in things like litter and, food. Because the cat, we thought it was allergic to food, so then we had to buy special food. And, it was just a nightmare trying to
Are
take
you
care of
telling
the
me
poor
that you
animal.
spent $100 a month on kitty litter?
Yeah, it had diarrhea fairly badly.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
You neutered this cat?
Yes. He was also very sick. So.
You think neutering him made him feel better?
No, not
I doubt
really.
that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dean and Dawn Prahl claim Dawn was assaulted by the Weisheimers when they came to retrieve their lost cat.
Mr. and Mrs. Prayer, you should have let them take the cat and not had this altercation inside your house. There are legal ways to take care of it if you feel as if they owe you money for taking care of their cat. And quite frankly, I'm not satisfied that your broken toe, although I'm very sorry that you had a broken toe, was a result of anything that he did intentionally. Now, he may have stepped on your toe, but I'm not finding that that's his fault. In any event, you're suing them for $5,000. Vet bills, pain and suffering, everything else. And there's certainly no way that you're going to get $5,000. You're not going to get anywhere close to that. But they took care of your cat for 3 months, 4 months.
Actually, about around 6, I think.
Okay. Now, how much do you think it would have cost you to take care of this cat for 6 months?
Well, to feed it and give it cat litter, I don't know, not too much. What? How much does cat food cost? $10 or litter? Or, but we bought a sack of...
Oh, please, this is, this is not a price club. Let me just take a quick look at the vet records.
Apparently he had eaten something as well, and then, so he had to have some kind of surgery to remove plastic stuff out of his stomach. So he was choking that up and throwing it up, and
You neutered this cat?
Yes. He was also very sick, so.
You think neutering him made him feel better?
No, not
I doubt
really.
that.
Well, no, they didn't want to do the procedure right away.
Is that right, Bert?
Absolutely.
Listen, I'm going to give you $500 for taking care of this cat, and that's it. I'm not giving you anything for your toe. I'm not giving you anything for pain and suffering. I think what you should have done is, as soon as they came for their cat, you should have given them their cat back, and then you would have avoided all this problem. If you wanted to take them to small claims court, you could have done that. I don't believe that he intentionally stepped on your toe. I think it was an incident that was provoked by your husband grabbing his body. If he did step on your toe, he stepped on your toe, and it was purely an accident for which you don't get compensation. But I think that they took good care of your animal. I think that the cat was, according to these records, suffering from some sort of intestinal malady that they took care of, and you should joyfully pay him the $500. Thank you, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He initiated the physical contact, that he did break her toe even before I touched him, and we're just not happy at all.
I think justice was served, and they obviously want to be opportunists and try to make something off this case.
And now the next case.
Parties on Ephraim versus Walker Curry. Step forward, please.
16-year-old student Aisha Ephraim wants her former friend, 17-year-old student Tyrone Curry, to pay for the necklace he snatched from her neck.
Why don't the two moms sit down? You were sitting in class.
Yeah.
Which class?
4th period Spanish.
Why don't you tell me what happened?
We were having conversation as we sat in class, and he jumped up and he grabbed
Was
my...
he sitting next to you?
Yes. And he reached out and he grabbed my chain in the process. And when I asked him why he had done it, he said he was having a Vietnam flashback, which the scene comes from a movie that we had seen, Dead Presidents. He was reenacting the character.
And what happened to your medallion?
Well, it had a slit down the middle and my name was broken in half.
Let's hear your version of these events. Your name is Tyrone?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
All right, we were like done with our assignment and things, and so we didn't have anything else to do. So people got into groups and we're sitting and talking, and I had some work I needed to do for my 5th period English class, and so I sat and I was doing my work, and then the people behind me, they're talking about Aisha sitting by herself. So we laughed about that, and I said, Aisha, you look a little lonely over there, you know? And then she laughed or whatever, and then other people in the group called her over. The only desk that was open was the one in front of me, so she came and sat down in front of me. And as I was doing my work, she came and she was like, she flicked my pen a little bit.
What do you mean she flicked your pen a little bit? What does that mean?
Like I was writing, and she just hit the pen, like playful, to get my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we started talking about the Dead Presidents movie. And then we started talking about the particular scene when Lorenz Tate choked it.
When what?
Lorenz Tate,
Yeah.
when he choked his girlfriend.
I didn't see the movie.
Oh, well, he had came back from Vietnam, and he was supposed to be like, kind of crazy or whatever. And she had came up on him and was yelling at him, and he choked her. And her boyfriend was supposed to be going into the service and everything. And I said, what if he did you like that? And then she was saying that he wouldn't do her like that, and she would do him like this. And she came and grabbed me, and I pushed her back.
She came and grabbed you how?
We were sitting in front of each other, so she just turned and put her hands on my neck.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
You were fooling around with each other.
We both watched the two of them play around a lot.
Listen, you never know what happens.
Closed captioning sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. 16-year-old student Aisha Ephraim wants her former friend, 17-year-old student Tyrone Curry, to pay for the necklace he snatched from her neck.
Okay. So then you look down at your medallion. Now, it wasn't broken in 2 pieces at that point. It was just bent.
No, it was broken in 2 pieces.
So it was totally apart?
Yes.
And did you have it fixed?
Yeah, here it is now.
Good. And how much did you pay to have it fixed?
My mom paid $90 total to have it all fixed and repaired.
Do you have the receipt?
Yes, I do.
Can I see it, please? This says exchange gold necklace, 22 inches, cannot repair to customer satisfaction.
Yes.
Well, what does that mean?
No, they couldn't fix it. If they would have fixed it, it would have left a scar. So he let me trade this one in, trade the one I had in that was identical to this one, and paid a difference of $80 or something.
It says $80.
Okay. And he was able to fix the name.
Name cost $10. He just soldered it together.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Okay. So, Tyrone, what do you think?
Well, it was like, it wasn't just like it was my fault. Like I just jumped and like tried to take her chain or something.
No,
You know,
nobody's suggesting, sir, that you try to take her chain. You were fooling around with each other.
Yeah, and so I think we should have to pay equally, you know, the $90.
Can I speak?
Sure.
Okay, when I originally talked to Mrs. Ephraim, she told me that she had the chain fixed, the medallion fixed and everything, and it was $28. The last that I heard from her, she was supposed to bring me a receipt showing that she had it fixed, and it cost $28 to have fixed. I want to know, how did it jump from $28 to $90 all of a sudden?
I never told you it was $28.
$28, that's what you stated. And I told you that I thought it was very petty, that I felt that, we went through this the whole summer with the two of them, jumping around, playing with each other, because I'm the director at the Boys and Girls Club, and Aisha was one of my youth workers, along with my son, Tyrone. The whole summer, I supervised them. Mrs. Ephraim even came in and she stayed some days. We both watched the two of them play around a lot. So I felt, why should Tyrone sit up and pay for some jewelry that both of them were playing around?
Let me tell you why. Because sometimes when you play around, nothing happens.
True.
And sometimes when you play around, something gets damaged.
Right.
So that you're supposed to be smart. She started to fool around with him, and he says, listen, you never know what happens.
Exactly.
I'm going to ignore this gal. Right?
With Aisha, it's kind of hard to do.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Okay. What I'm telling you is he had options.
Yes, he did.
All right. And we're not talking about a major, she could have gotten hurt.
True.
Or he could have gotten hurt. And I guarantee you this, if they were fooling around, and if, for instance, she grabbed at him and chipped his tooth, even though they were both fooling around, I would hold her responsible.
Believe me, that has happened too.
So he's got to pay for the damage. You have a job?
No.
Huh?
No.
Get one. Good. It's not a big deal. It's a good lesson. It's going to cost you $90. Judgment for the plaintiff, $90. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, Mark Gallardo says his former fiancée, Renee Sachs, 41, won't return his personal items and money she owes him. Renee is countersuing for rent.
All rise. Order. Your Honor, this is case number 271 on the calendar in the matter of Gallardo versus Sachs. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
You two dated for a while. You're no longer dating. Now that you're no longer dating, each of you claim that the other owes you $5,000 for a variety of things. Why don't you tell me what you think she owes you $5,000 for?
Well, when I moved on out, the next day I went over there with a U-Haul with an escort and packed up all my stuff, left. Going through my stuff at home, I noticed that there was a couple items that were missing.
Like what?
My stereo that's in her car.
Okay.
You know, my daughter's graduation pictures, some framed pictures that I left from like Arizona and Yosemite and stuff, pewtered picture frames.
Those the picture frames that Yosemite is in?
No, these are separate ones that actually her and me were in, that I bought.
For me.
Go ahead.
Anyway, you know, flashlights, cameras.
What kind of cameras?
Canon camera,
A
waterproof.
Canon camera you left there?
Yep, and a Polaroid.
And a Polaroid camera. What else?
An electric steamer, just, you know, little things.
An electric steamer?
Right.
You mean to steam vegetables?
To steam vegetables.
Go ahead.
The cords to my electric razor and my beard trimmer. Stainless steel frying pan.
You left the beard trimmer there, or you left the cords to the beard trimmer?
The cords.
To the beard trimmer.
And my electric razor.
What else?
There was some furniture that was left there that after I decided, because I was upset when I moved on out because I had no reason why she acted the way she did. So I rewrote another letter saying that she can have certain items, you know, and keep them there.
What? Let's run that by me again. You were upset. So after you were upset, you wrote her a letter, and you said in the letter you can keep certain items.
That's
right?
correct.
Which items?
That she could keep?
Yeah.
Well, like the bed that I gave her daughter.
Any of these items that you just outlined that you left behind?
No, there's more. There's about, you know, 36 items that I left there.
Your Honor, I have a list of all these items, and I've put on there whether it was a gift to myself or my daughter, and whether the other court, when I got a restraining order, asked me to write him a certified letter, went to pick his stuff up in my driveway, and it sat there for 2 hours, and he never showed up. And if these are valuable things that he thinks he really needs, he should have been there to pick them up.
What
I'm
about
more than
this?
willing to give them back.
Oh, okay. Do you have his beard trimmer?
Don't. No, don't even need it.
What about, do you leave cameras, 2 cameras there?
I found 1 camera in my car, and then I didn't know the Polaroid was there. I said he never left it. He must have taken it because it was always in his drawer, and then I found it last Sunday.
So you have
it is there, and it's packed with his other things ready for him to have. I do not want his things.
Fine, so you have all those things. Why didn't you go and pick them up?
She never responded.
I responded. His mother signed for the letter
So
2
just
days.
a second. So is that the reason why these things are still outstanding? Because you say she never responded to your letter.
She never responded to
Fine.
to
So
either
we'll
letter.
make an arrangement within 7 days of today's date for you to go and pick up all your stuff.
Okay. But
Fine.
Now there's a matter of monies.
Well, so now let's talk about the money.
Okay. When I met Renee, she was way in debt with about 22 credit cards.
Don't talk to her. Talk to me.
So we arranged a solution to the problem of combining all her credit cards to the lowest interest rate. You know, during this time, she goes out and purchases a 50-inch television.
Whatever she purchased, how do you get involved with that? Don't tell me about her spending.
I loaned her money to put onto her credit card.
How much money did you loan her?
Altogether, about $1,400.
According to your complaint, you only loaned her 7 and 5. It was $1,200.
That wasn't a loan, Your Honor.
You said you gave her $500 at one point when you got a commission check or something?
I loaned her $700 at that
What,
time.
I have the $700 when you got a
Yeah.
commission
She
check.
even wrote out the check for it.
Yeah, and what else?
A couple days before my father died, my stepfather, he gave me a gift of $500.
Right.
Right. I turned around and loaned that to her to put onto her Visa
That's what you
card.
say in your complaint.
Because
Right.
we both used...
Just a second. That's 7 and 5.
7 and 5.
Right.
And then I put down $100 towards this 50-inch television that she purchased with no payments until 1999.
Well, when you put that $100 down for her, what did you say to her, sir?
I said, "Here's the loan for to the television."
No.
You said, here's the loan onto
No,
the
he did
television?
not.
Yes.
No.
No, he did
Okay,
not.
so
Have it
that's
written
what you
on the
say
check.
she owes you. You say she owes you 7, 5, and $100 for the television set.
Plus, there's a matter of there's a shop that my mom shops at, and that we went there, and she purchased some stuff that I got on a credit due to the fact that she's my mother.
I didn't purchase that.
Just a second. Yeah.
You know, well, I have one of the garments here.
Just a second,
Okay, I can't do anything with a size 4 tailored fit jumpsuit.
Just a second.
You know,
What does this have to do with money she owes you?
well, she still owes $240 because she still has stuff that is sitting there.
What does that have to do with you?
Because I have to pay the bill.
He bought me those things, Your
Just
Honor.
a second. You have to pay the bill?
Yeah, I paid the bill.
Well, let me hear how that happened. You took her
Well-
into a store and she said, I want to buy clothes. Would you put it on your bill?
No.
No.
No. So how did it happen? Come. Talk to me.
How did it happen?
Yeah.
We went there and she was looking around. She saw this jumpsuit.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Can I have it?" I said, "Sure." She had it custom fit for her. And then she threw them back at me the night when she moved on out. What am I supposed to do with two jumpsuits that don't fit me? They ain't gonna fit anybody that I know. They're custom fit for her. So, I think she ought to pay for them. Plus she
Can I have that? Sure. Have it fit for you. What should you do with it? Hopefully your next girlfriend will be a size 4.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She bought me a shirt.
She bought you a shirt?
Yeah.
He wanted it.
It was a
Were you
gift.
together? Just a second, were you together?
It was
Yes,
a
we were.
gift.
Up. Answer, Mike. Were you together?
Yes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mark Gallardo says his former fiancée, Renee Sachs, won't return his personal items and money she owes him. Renee is countersuing for rent.
All right, now let me hear, Miss Sachs, let me hear about this $700 check that he gave you and this $500 check that he gave you.
There's no check that I received for $700. He wrote a check to my Visa for $700, and I was not behind on that.
So, did you both purchase items on that Visa?
Yes, I have.
Let me see, for
I
instance,
have
what he
something here that you
purchased.
can see everything that is.
Don't give me everything.
No, okay, then I
don't
won't.
want everything. I just want you to show me on this particular Visa bill where he paid the $700 some items that were purchased solely by him.
Can I show you the check that she wrote out on my checking account?
Yeah, so what? Listen to me. If two people are living together, they're
Oh, I
engaged to
did
be
that.
married. And they are using a credit card, and the credit card happens to be in one person's name. And if you're both using the credit card for joint things, you're going out for dinner, you're buying things for your home, those things are joint things. So that would be a rationale for you to pay part of this bill. I have to see what those items were. So can I please see them? Don't show me the whole folder. Open it up. Take out a page or two, show me where he made a $700 payment, and show me the charges for the 2 months before the $700 payment.
Your Honor.
Just a second, don't speak. Okay. Just follow directions. Find where he made the $700 payment and give me 2 months' bills itemized on that Visa for items that were purchased. I can read, just find it.
Judge Judy, can I say something? Okay.
Say nothing. Is that it?
Yeah, most of the yellow highlights are either we were going to split those or it was his solely.
All right, I have a $700 payment, so I assume that's the payment we're talking about. That looked like July.
July, yes.
July. Okay. Did you eat together at Sabella and La Torre in San Francisco? Mr. Gallardo.
Yeah, because I won tickets for the King and I, and she ended up.
Just a second.
She ended up renting a room at the Hyatt Regency.
I'm not talking about the Hyatt, sir. I asked you if you had a meal at this restaurant.
It was inside the Hyatt, yes.
No, Your Honor, that's not what that is.
Just a second. What do you care? He says yes.
That's another time.
There's a difference. He said yes. He ate there.
He did.
This is an indicia of whether these are joint bills or whether these are just her bills.
How much was that for?
$67.13. Encore Travel, $59.95. What is that for?
That's for a discount card that Mark said it would be a good idea that we would get for going whatever outings we were doing. We would save money.
I never saw a card.
Oh, okay.
There are 2 of those, Your Honor.
You better stop getting credit cards, lady. I mean, look at your file, right?
That's what her
Got more
desk
credit
looks
cards
like.
than I do. Natural Wonders, San Jose, California, for a shirt.
Natural Wonders for a shirt. Yeah, she bought me a shirt.
She bought you a shirt.
Yeah, it's a wolf.
Okay.
He wanted it.
No, she
Yeah.
bought it for. She bought
Just
it
a
for
second.
me. It was a
Were
gift.
you together? Just a second. Were you together?
It was
Yes,
a
we were.
gift.
Up. Answer, Mike. Were you together?
Yes.
Dr. Jelnick. Is that your doctor?
Who? That's mine.
That's yours. Well, you've got that highlighted, $4,500.
Right. Yeah. We agreed before going into that he would pay half that bill.
No,
I didn't. He said he could not afford the whole thing, but he could afford half of it. And therefore, I put it on a credit card.
I was happy the way she was before she went and got a breast enlargement.
You're so full of it.
Just a second. Hey, just a second.
She puts it on her visa?
Just a second.
Seemed like a good idea at the time, right, Mark?
Nope.
Listen to me, Miss Sachs. That's your bill. Because any woman that has surgery because a guy wants it, it's got to be missing a few. Here's another $500 for the same doctor. So this thing cost you $5,000?
Yes.
With all your bills, you spent money on this?
I can go through.
All Parts Auto Store, $116. What's that for?
Her tune-up on her car. It's her car.
Your Honor, I drove him to work every day for 10 months, 19.4 miles one way.
Your choice.
Because he lost his driver's license due to drunk driving and expressed to me that he didn't drink any longer. Which
Fitness
turned out
Quest.
to be...
Fitness Quest, what is that?
Some exercise thing that she
What is
ordered.
that?
No, that's not true. That's diet. That's some diet plan. We both went in on that, and I have it right here that he is half of that. I took responsibility for half of it.
What kind of diet plan?
Come on, capsules.
Oh, BioSlim, and she was taking them.
And you didn't take any?
No, I didn't take darn one of them.
Okay, let's get to your counterclaim. Piece of nonsense. All right, Miss Sachs, you want to tell me about your counterclaim, please?
Yes, okay, Your Honor. In October, Mark and I agreed that he would pay half of my rent, which is $800 a month. He was staying at my house since September. My roommate pays her rent separately. The three of us agreed that he would pay 1/3 of the PG&E and 1/3 of the water, and then we each have our own phone, so he would pay half of my phone bill. I have months here that he did pay rent and then did not pay rent. He paid PG&E, he paid 1/3 of the PG&E once in 10 months.
So why didn't you kick him out?
I loved him. We were working toward what I thought was a common goal, Your Honor.
And now you broke up. And the common goal was you each were supposed to get your credit cleared up and do whatever you could to get your credit cleared up so that when you started your life together, it would be with a better credit. Is that right? Is that right?
That's what I was trying to do for her.
You were doing nothing for me, Mark.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
She ruined single-handedly my birthday.
It happens.
closed captioning, sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Mark Gallardo says his former fiancée, Renee Sachs, won't return his personal items and money she owes him. Renee is countersuing for rent.
Miss Sachs, what I'm telling you both is it's over, put a period, move on with your life. Right?
Right.
She doesn't owe you any money, and you don't owe her any money. Neither one of you owes anybody any money. You lived in the house for 10 months. She said you didn't pay all the rent you were supposed to pay. She didn't kick you out because you really weren't a tenant. And she wouldn't have if you got married, said to you on your wedding night, by the way, you owe me $4,500 for my rent. I guarantee it. Miss Sachs, don't speak. And as far as you're concerned, sir, that outfit that you bought, that's a present. You paid certain monies towards her credit cards. You used certain monies on those credit cards, even if they were joint things. As far as the things that you left in the house is concerned, she's prepared to return those things to you. She has them. They are itemized. All you have to do is go and get them. Now, when do you want to get them?
ASAP.
Give me a date. 5 days from today?
That'd be good.
Tomorrow? Can you be there tomorrow?
No, I'm...
Speak to me, Miss Sachs. Don't speak to him.
Your Honor,
Can
tomorrow
he be
would
there?
Good for me.
I'm sorry, I'm in
I
LA
need this
for a
to
day
be
on
over
business.
with.
Okay, let's make it 4 business days from today. Do you need anybody else there when this transfer
Yes, I'd like
property
him
is
to have a
made?
police escort as I have a restraining order against him for his violence.
Fine, we will draw up an order indicating that he
who's
will
violent?
retrieve his items 4 business days from today with a police escort. Thank you very much. That's
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I took a big loss in this relationship. I had hope that, oh well.
I hope she does good in her life because, I actually still love her.
It's a shame that it happened. I was looking forward to having Renee as a daughter-in-law. And her daughter is a sweetie.
Yeah, she really is.
I miss her.
And now the next case.
All parties on Barnett versus Hannum. Step forward, please.
38-year-old Social Security rep Tori Barnett claims delivery agent Jacqueline Hannum owes her for a Mexican vacation and embarrassing her with an old boyfriend.
Okay, fast case. You used to be good friends according to this complaint.
Yes.
You were having a birthday.
Yes,
You were
ma'am.
celebrating that birthday by going with some friends to Rosarita Beach.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is in Mexico.
Yes, ma'am.
You wanted your friend to go with you.
That's correct.
She couldn't afford the tickets, etc., so you agreed to advance the money. So far, correct?
Yes.
You advanced $150 for the bus fare and for her share of a motel room or a hotel room?
Yes.
And you promised to pay her back?
Yes.
And you acknowledge that you promised to pay her back and that you have not?
Yes.
So that's $150. Problem is you are suing for $5,000 because you say that during the course of this trip to Rosarita Beach, there was some sort of an indiscretion with either a boyfriend or an ex-boyfriend of yours by the defendant.
Correct.
And you were humiliated.
Correct.
This was a boyfriend of yours?
No.
An ex-boyfriend?
That's correct.
So you want $4,850 for your humiliation.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Most states have done away with alienation of affection suits, even as regard to married people. This was not even a case of a marriage, wasn't even a case of a boyfriend. This was an ex-boyfriend.
Correct.
She owes you the $150.
Yes, she does.
The fact that you were annoyed, humiliated, you felt as if she violated a trust.
Correct.
You know, that's a thing that breaks up friendships. It doesn't amount to a lawsuit. Why would you think it amounts to a lawsuit?
She ruined single-handedly my birthday. She did.
It happens.
Yes, it does.
You don't get compensated for that. You may say goodbye to your friend. You certainly say goodbye to the ex-boyfriend. But you don't sue in court for that. In any event, you acknowledge that you owe her $150.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you paid any portion of it?
I have not paid, no.
Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $150. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I feel very grateful that the friendship has been dissolved.
She's upset, she's angry, and that's fine. I acknowledge that.
Friendships are based on trust, and I believe and I feel wholeheartedly that she violated that trust.
We're no longer friends. It ended after the trip, so. And we just move on, that's all.